From the Opopco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our weekly 5 in 5 segment. We've got 5 topics, about a minute each. Let's get right to it, Barry. Lots of NBA to talk about. Let's start with this one. Finish this sentence. The Thunder wins this series against the Grizzlies if?
The Thunder plays defense. Thunder scored 100 points game 1, 99 points in game 2. Went home a winner in game 1, a loser in game 2. Because of defense. Memphis scored 86 in game 1. Memphis got to 99 in game 2, regulation, 1 in overtime. Thunder's got to play defense. Memphis is going to play defense. Memphis is going to keep the Thunder in check. Oklahoma City's got a good offense. 99 points, 100 points in a game against Memphis is excellent offense. But you can't let Memphis get up there. The Grizzlies aren't an offensively built team. If you don't play good defense, if Memphis gets up into the same category, then it's anybody's series.
I totally agree, and I'll even hone it a little further and say the Thunder wins this series if they play better perimeter defense. They got to play better perimeter defense because if you look at the way that they're handling the bigs from Memphis, it's not so bad. I mean, they're doing a fairly decent job, but they'll do a much better job against those bigs if they don't allow Mike Conley and Beno Udrih to drive to the goal and force those bigs on the Thunder defense to come out and try to help guard. Then you leave Zach Randolph or Marc Gasol more open for what they can get. So the defense has to start at the perimeter. They have to get out on three-point shooters more. They got to stop that penetration. I saw a stat last night, Barry, that the Grizzlies are one of 4 teams to have over 50 games in the regular season under 100 points. Among those other teams are the Bulls, who a lot of people would suspect, but also Boston, a team that didn't make the playoffs, the Jazz, a team that didn't make the playoffs. So for the Thunder to allow 111 points, even in an overtime game, got to play better defense than that. All right, Barry, what about this sentence? Finish it. The Grizzlies win this series if?
If they can get Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph going better. Now, what you said about the perimeter is exactly true, but I think the Thunder will come out fortified. I think they'll take it as a matter of pride. I think they will take steps to not get beat by Beno Udrih. However, Gasol and Randolph are elite players. Thunder has made life miserable for Gasol for 2 games, Randolph for 1. Zach had a decent game in game 2. But Kendrick Perkins, Nick Collison, Serge Ibaka, they're doing a great job on the Memphis big guys. But those guys have hurt the Thunder in the past. They've hurt a lot of people in the past. Memphis can get more production out of them. If they do, this series swings to the Grizzlies.
You know, I think that that's really going to be important, but I think the Grizzlies can win this series if they continue to hound Kevin Durant. I think that forces the Thunder offense to do some things that they don't want to do. And I think that's trickled over to some of these defensive problems we've seen. What Tony Allen is doing against Kevin Durant is really remarkable. And Durant still had 36 points the other night in game 2. So he's still going to score points, but it just throws that offense off. And I think that frustration, again, I think it's trickling over some. So Tony Allen, he's been fantastic. Listen, if he doesn't start game 3, doesn't Dave Yeager need to be taken out and have some sense beat into him, for crying out loud? All right, Barry, what about this true-false? True-false. Scott Brooks is out if Oklahoma City loses this series.
Well, I think that's false, and it's a popular national discussion point. But the truth is, the Thunder's not a reactionary franchise. The Thunder doesn't make decisions based on 1 or 2 games. So if Thunder somehow pulls that game out with 1 or 2 plays, probably win game 2, they probably win the series. So all of a sudden, Scott Brooks is a good coach or an acceptable coach or the right coach because of 1 or 2 plays. You don't make decisions based on that. But if the Thunder loses, I do think that increases the pressure on Brooks. I do think it increases the scrutiny, including inside the organization. I think they will have some serious discussions, not about changing coaches, but is Scott Brooks the long-term man for this program? I think Brooks definitely could use a victory in this Memphis series.
No doubt about that. Yeah, I think it is false. I don't think Scott Brooks is out as coach if Oklahoma City loses here in the first round. I think a lot of people believe that. But if you look at how the Thunder operates, they don't make rash decisions. So I don't think they'll make a rash decision here. And some people would say, well, this isn't rash. There's some history. Well, but wait a second. They won 59 games in the regular season this year with a piecemeal team with so many injuries. So I don't understand why that doesn't reflect positively on Scott Brooks. Last year, they lose Russell Westbrook in the first round. They still managed to gut out a first-round series victory. Then they do fall to Memphis, but that was going to be a tough series even if Russell Westbrook's available. The year before, when Scott Brooks has all his guys, they go to the NBA Finals. The year before that, they go to the Western Conference Finals. It's hard to say that there's a long-standing reason to say Scott Brooks doesn't deserve to keep his job. But I agree, pressure will continue to build not only outwardly but inwardly if they don't win this series. All right, Barry, our fun question of the week. Hey, we interrupt this NBA playoff talk to discuss the other big event in town. It's Festival of the Arts time. What's your favorite Festival of the Arts food?
Well, this goes back a little bit, and I credit the Festival of the Arts for inventing a food that's now widely popular. Chances are they probably didn't invent it, but it's the first time I ever heard of it. Years ago when I was a kid, they all of a sudden are offering Indian tacos. Never heard them all the time I was growing up until the late 70s. They discover them at the Arts Festival. Now, of course, they're a staple. They're fabulous. Had them as recently as today's Wednesday, a week ago, I had an Indian taco. So that's what I credit the Festival of the Arts. Here's the deal. Two events really known for their food in town. State Fair, Arts Festival. State Fair, bad food. Nonsensical food. Fry up something, everything from golf balls to rubber tires. Festival of the Arts, good food.
Now, I would disagree some on the State Fair because, I'm sorry, some of the cinnamon rolls you find at the State Fair, I'll go to the State Fair just to get a good cinnamon roll out at the State Fair. Not to say you can't find them other places, but there's something about that. I think Festival of the Arts, I also like Indian tacos, but isn't there some strawberry concoction? There's a dessert out there.
Yeah.
It's not strawberry shortcake, but it's something along those lines. I'm a sucker for dessert. So any dessert out there, if you see me coming and you've got dessert, just go ahead and try to sell it to me. I'll probably buy it even if I've already eaten 6 or 7. So, all right, lastly, Barry, let's get back to the serious topic at hand of these NBA playoffs. What is the secret to Tony Allen's success? Tell us right here, right now.
Two things. One, he knows how to play defense. A lot of people do in the NBA. He knows how. Eddie Sutton taught him. Lionel Hollins taught him. He's been, Doc Rivers and the Boston staff. He's had some great teachers teaching him, here's how you play defense. A lot of people know that. Here's what Tony Allen does that's different than almost everybody else. He never stops. When he walks on the court, starts, he never takes a breath. He never takes a rest. He never does anything. If he does take a breath, it's on offense. Tony Allen is all in on defense, and he never stops. It's a great lesson for us all. It's a great lesson for the Thunder. It's a great lesson for the entire NBA. Play basketball like Tony Allen does. Commit, go all in. Good things are going to happen.
Yeah, to me, I was actually watching Tony Allen a little bit the other night. How could we not? He was all over Kevin Durant. But I was watching him sort of even during dead ball situations and some other things. And he's that 9-year-old kid that's playing on your kid's little league team who won't calm down. Coach has to say, kid, get over here, stop moving, stand still. That's Tony Allen, except in the NBA, you want him to move around. Don't stand still, get going. Tony Allen is just that Energizer Bunny. He's sort of a calm down version, if you will, a little bit of Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley, I think that's the secret to his success. He does not stop, and neither does Tony Allen. He's just maybe a little bit more under control, but it's definitely something to see what Tony Allen's doing out there on defense. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.